And hello there, guys and gals. Welcome back to another installment on Juan on Juan. It's usually your host exclusivity, but this time around we're going to be having Randy the Realist come out. He had his first appearance of the extra yard last week, Tuesday, and it feels like he's going to be around a lot. And this time around, we're going to have our bullish or bearish report for week 3. Juan did take a break for week 2. It was just too much of a massacre to get into and to really try to break down. But week 3, we have a much better game, a much closer game, a game that at points it felt like we should have won, but ultimately we didn't. We ended up losing 31-28 to the Las Vegas Raiders. I figured there's no better place to start than with the bearish, and then we'll finish it up with the bullish. So stick around. I'm going to be having some game footage to show you guys exactly what I mean. And without further ado, let's dive in.
There goes Mike Gesicki. My goodness.
I'm OG, y'all new to the game.
Powers in for the Miami touchdown. Patrick's going to take a deep shot for Preston Williams. What a start. Tua down the middle. Picked off by Byron Jones. Dolphins score.
Jumping right into the bearish side of things. Um, no easy way for me to put this, but the 2OC system, I don't want to say it's broken. It's just not all the way there for me. There's times where it feels uneven. There's times where it almost feels like we're not really sure what to call. Right up until the moment when we actually have to start throwing, we don't throw. And once we do start throwing because we're forced to throw, well, we're actually pretty good about it. There's just too many inconsistent calls, too many, like unrhythmic play designs, and there's just no real like progression to where you're building maybe a counter run, and then you build a play action off the counter run. Like, I don't see that type of progression from ROCs to where they're giving our offense a chance to even make it happen against the defense that really, they have pieces, but they really shouldn't have held us back to the point where Jacoby was, 20 of 29 for 112 yards with 6:26 left in the fourth quarter. That can't happen, and we need coaching to really get it done. The next part I want to talk about is the rush defense. It feels like there's now 3 weeks in a row where realistically they're on my bearish side. I know some people like to say, well, they only gave up 20 yards in the first half, 40 yards, in overtime or whatever it was. But at the end of the day, this is something that's been a consistent habit with or without Raekwon. I understand Raekwon isn't playing at the moment, but even when Raekwon was playing, we still struggled to stop the run. And then it's not looking like it's something that's going to, slow down or stop anytime soon. Coming up, we have, the Indianapolis Colts with Jonathan Taylor. So it's a big matchup, a great running back, and we'll see if we're able to step up. We weren't able to do it in week 3, though. Team discipline is actually something I'm going to have to bring up. There was a couple instances, one with Byron on a punt return where I just have no idea what he did. I understand that we might have lost a yard or less than that inches, but it's still questionable. And really, just overall, I feel like this team has been sloppy to start the year. I'm not seeing um, the same inspired troops to not make mistakes as far as like self-inflicting wounds with flags and penalties and just uncharacteristic stuff from a Brian Flores team that we didn't really see too much of the first 2 years. Even during the 5-11 season, they were one of the least penalized teams of that year. So it's definitely something to keep track of, and hopefully they're able to turn it around starting this week. Lastly, on my bearish side, we're gonna have O-line lapses still, man. We're gonna have moments where the offensive line just doesn't look good, and it looks like it could be a serious issue. There was times where Liam in his first start at right tackle just kind of looked like uncomfortable, and that's not shocking. He has told us that he feels more comfortable on the left side, and for whatever reason we just ignore it, and it made us pay a couple times. Yeah, Max Crosby might not have had a sack, but they were everywhere. They were everywhere all over us. And really, ultimately, it just comes down to, can this O-line have some pride to grow, to get better together as a unit, and to, hopefully keep Jacoby upright up until the moment where Tua is able to come back. And if Tua is able to come back, can we keep Tua upright? And moving right along to our bullish side of things, we're going to start off with a guy who is a lesser known name, who probably should be a bigger known name, and that is Zach Sealer. Zach was everywhere, almost every single play, literally, that he was out there. The guy is a force. The guy is unblockable at times. The guy really just makes plays. 9 total tackles, 4 solos, 1 pass deflection. I know he's not going to be like the media darling because of the sacks and the whatever, but this guy is a serious player and somebody that Miami Dolphins should be proud to have on their team. Next I'm going to talk about is Emmanuel Ogbah, man. I love Ogbah. I love everything he gives. I wish he was a second faster. If he was a second faster, he might really be a 20 mil a year player as far as a DN or outside linebacker or just pass rusher in general. He's gotten close so many times to getting a sack, and he just, it just doesn't happen for him. He'll have 3 quarterback hits, 3 hurries, but he'll just, it's like a second too slow, a step too slow. But still, with having said that, the guy is performing. The guy is having his presence felt. And ultimately, if he doesn't get the sack numbers that maybe he wants, maybe we do get him on a lower money deal. And, hopefully we can get that worked out. And to wrap things up on the bullish side, we're going to talk about a guy who's been criminally underused in Mike Gesicki. Mike Gesicki, by all indications, has been relegated to a part-time situational role by the staff. Don't know why. For me, at this point, he's almost our most consistent player when it comes to, if you need a play, you go to him, he makes it. Waddle, he's had drops and bobbles. Fuller is just getting back healthy. Devontae has had drops. So why aren't we featuring Mike Gesicki? Why aren't we feeding him early and often? Why aren't we featuring him to the point where every single week we're going with a game plan of he needs at least 10 targets? Because look, every time you give him 10 targets, he performs. This week we gave him 12, 10 catches, 86 yards. His first target didn't come till middle of the second quarter. I really am disappointed in how they decided to use Mike, just because I figured with Godsey getting the promotion from tight ends coach to OC, it would have, hinted at potentially him understanding how good Mike can be and how much of a weapon he is in this league to be able to use him and take advantage of it. But instead, the coaching staff decided the other way, and it almost feels like they're limiting him to potentially not have to pay him so much throughout the year or at the end of the year. Overall, Mike Gesicki needs more from this coaching staff, from his quarterbacks, from everybody, because when he's out there, he performs. That about wraps it up. Please hit that subscribe. Please hit that like button. Comment if you need to. Till next time, peace.
Dolphins score!